Insiders, welcome to another edition of your Monday download. Today's download is actually on Friday since I'm going to be out of the office on Monday, so you get it a little early. Have a great weekend since I'm coming to you on Friday instead of Monday. Well, let's talk about HAFA because it seems like everybody's talking about it. We're getting questions on it. People are submitting files and they're wanting them to go HAFA, and there's some misunderstanding out there still, and that's expected with something that's so new. But it's such a big topic. I feel like I've talked about HAFA until I'm blue in the face, and I've got so many videos out there that you guys are sick of it. But obviously you're not, because I'm continuing to get inquiries and questions and clarification needs. And so let's just talk about it. If this is what we need to talk about, let's dive in. The big news and the biggest news right now is that Fannie and Freddie, as of August 1st, so I guess 1st of next week, be the first business day, they are rocking HAFA themselves. So they came up with a cut and paste version of the Treasury Department's program. I don't have any clue why they didn't just participate in it from the beginning. I mean, honestly, if you read the policies, the directives for Freddie and Fannie, it's literally, there's a few minor tweaks, but for the most part, it's exactly the same as what HAFA has always been. So anyway, I guess they just needed to have their own autonomy on that. But anyway, they're the basic same program. If you understand HAFA, you're going to understand the Fannie Freddie versions of it, because it really isn't that much different. Same kind of concerns that we had with HAFA. We still have not proven that the HAFA program is without fault. At this point, it's been challenging to get anything through. Some of that's because Fannie and Freddie weren't participating. So the big concern I want to talk about today is in regard to positioning your sellers, because there's obviously concerns about the BPO and all the things that we've talked about in the past. And we have a recent example. An agent called me up and said, hey, I got a HAFA approved short sale that's $30,000, priced $30,000 above what the property is worth. Is it worth putting in an offer $30 grand below what they're saying it's approved on HAFA for? And unfortunately, the answer is no, because that agent's stuck with that for 4 months and may never get another opportunity to market the property. So example A of how HAFA is going to screw up short sales. But we'll move on from there. Let's go into what I want to talk about here is the concern about seller positioning. There's $3,000 credit in HAFA to sellers, and here's the deal. I understand, and even in earlier videos I had promoted using that $3,000 incentive as a marketing tool for yourself to be able to market to sellers so that they can, you can get their listings, right? That's a good marketing tool. Make sure you're positioning them properly. You may say, hey, there's a possibility of $3,000 if you sell your house through a short sale. Give me a call so we can discuss it. Actually discuss it. Sit down with them and talk to them. Find out the details. Here's some things that are going to make that challenging. Junior liens and private mortgage insurance make it really challenging for HAFA to work, because PMI, who's become very, very aggressive in collections and promissory notes and all that kind of stuff, they can't do that in HAFA, and so they have to be in agreement to not do that. By having them involved in the process, there's a likelihood that it's not going to work through HAFA. Junior liens have rights often of collection after the foreclosure auction even, and so they want to keep those rights in a short sale, and they can't do that in HAFA. And so if you've got a really small second mortgage, they might settle for that $6,000. If you have a massive $150,000 or $200,000 second mortgage, they're going to look at $6 grand and say, well, we appreciate the payment, but we're sure as heck not going to get rid of our collection right over $6 grand. So be aware that those are things that make the likelihood of HAFA being successful decrease. And so when you're sitting down and you're talking with your seller and you see, oh, you've got a first mortgage with PMI and you have a second mortgage, and oh my goodness, now there's a judgment that we're going to have to pay, and pretty soon HAFA is not looking as promising. And I think that it's really important that at that moment you say, okay, the $3,000 through the HAFA program, because of the fact that you have private mortgage insurance and multiple liens on your property, the likelihood of that actually happening is very, very low. And I want you to know that up front, that there's still a possibility and we might be able to make something work, but let's not count on it because of those items. And then you want to weave in the other benefits of a short sale, the fact that they can reestablish their credit and get a home loan more quickly than if they let it go to foreclosure. They can get out from under the debt. All the things that you already do to present the benefit of the short sale. Another thing that you need to be aware of is if, less than 30 days. If your seller is less than 30 days from foreclosure auction, the bank is not even going to review them for HAFA, because they have a 30-day window to review for HAFA, not even approval, just the HAFA, getting into the HAFA program. And so if they have less than that 30 days, they're going to say, we don't have time to even review it, so we can't do HAFA. We're going to have to go classic short sale method. So those are things that would make it, if not impossible, very unlikely for your seller to go through HAFA. And so just be aware of that. On the flip side of that, if you have a single lien with no PMI and that's the only thing on title, there's a high likelihood that they'll be able to qualify for HAFA. So then go ahead and let them know that. But also remind them, depending on the investor, and if the investor is not willing to participate in the HAFA program, they may not get the $3,000. So to guarantee them the $3,000 is simply a recipe for disaster, frustration from your seller, and possibly the entire transaction detonating at the closing table because the seller's not getting the $3,000 that they had been promised by you when you sent them your letter in the first place. So be aware of that. Now, many of you were on the Bank of America conference call last week, and or actually it was this week, sorry. And we were on it too and got some good information, and so just appreciate those of you that are sending us that information and trying to make sure that we stay educated on our end, and we always want to be on the cutting edge of all that stuff. And so just some thoughts on Bank of America's presentation. First of all, it's Bank of America's procedure for the HAFA program. It's not the HAFA program itself. Each lender has to create their own processes around the basic directives. So CITI, Chase, Wells, anybody else out there is not going to have that exact same process. So just be aware of that. And on the, in addition to that, coming out of Bank of America, I mean, I worked almost a decade at Bank of America, and I was, in upper levels of management in banking centers and different things. And I'll just let you know right now that they put a PowerPoint presentation together so that it looked good, felt good, and was very smooth and clean cut and put together for us as real estate agents. And the questions were probably staged at the end of everything so that they could slam dunk the answers and everybody went home feeling good about themselves. And so, it was basically what I'm trying to say is it was very surface, and there was good information, but it's what it didn't do is it didn't bring up the potential problems and pitfalls. They just kind of glossed over it and said, hey, we're participating in HAFA and here's how we're doing it. So be aware of that. One great thing that we did find out this week is that there is an escalation process, and we've already got a HAFA file that we've escalated, and we have verified that it's not just a bounce email or an invalid email address, that we're actually getting a response in regard to the escalation process for HAFA. So that's good. I mean, that's a good thing when there's actually an avenue to escalate, because that's the other reality is even if HAFA in theory will work and works most of the time, there's always going to be a need to escalate a file because of the fact that you've got people involved, and many times these people aren't capable or willing to do what needs to be done to process the file according to the program itself. So anyway, so that's some stuff on HAFA. If you've got more questions, don't hesitate to call or email. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to go over it. It's a new program, so we're not going to have all the answers, but we have spent a lot of time going through all of the different directives, through the programs at some of the different lenders, and so we've got an understanding of it. Now all that it's going to be is processing the HAFA program to see how it actually works. And we've got some in the works, and we'll see how those result. And just be aware and be careful, and go back and revisit some of the other videos that I've done on some of the pitfalls that come with HAFA, so that you don't find yourself in a position where you've wasted 4 months marketing a property and it's $30,000 over what market value is, and you can't drop the price because HAFA won't let you. So have a great weekend, since this is a Friday download instead of a Monday. Have a great week next week, and don't forget that next week is our Wednesday conference call. If people want to be talking about HAFA on that call, we can do that. So join us on the call. I'll send you out an email on Tuesday to remind you. Have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.